Once upon a time, in a forgotten desert beyond the edge of any map, there lived a young traveler named Eli. Though born with a restless heart, his days had turned blurry with aimless striving and confusion. Once, while wandering beneath a sky thick with indifferent stars, he collapsed beside his dying campfire, unsure of where to go or why. There he sat, lost in the vast emptiness, when suddenly an old man appeared beside him, cloaked in starlight and desert dust. Beneath its shade, he laid the stone down and waited. When the heat began to fade, the stone hummed softly, and 3 simple words echoed in his mind. "Remember who walks before you?" Resting by the gushing water, he held the stone and closed his eyes. As he stroked its surface, a sacred name whispered on his lips, half spoken, half revered. He realized how carelessly he had used it in jest, how lightly he had uttered it in anger or excitement. But now speaking it felt like a prayer. Some names he understood should only be spoken with clean lips and a quiet heart. It sat beside a weathered grave, and a lone man wept softly beside it. The stone glowed faintly, and upon it were 2 hands, entwined and broken. Not far away, in a tent nestled between rolling dunes, a woman cried quietly, her shoulders shaking with sobs. That afternoon, Eli encountered a stranger wrongly accused of stealing a precious artifact. The climb was arduous, but the closer he got, the stronger the stone's pull. As he neared the top, the words burned into his mind: want less, love more. Gazing out at the world spread before him, Eli realized the truth in these words. He had spent so much of his life chasing dreams of fame and fortune that he had overlooked the beauty and meaning in the everyday moments. The townspeople, blinded by anger and prejudice, were ready to punish the stranger without a trial. Though they were silent, their lessons echoed in his heart. The 10 Commandments were not relics of an ancient past, but stones along a living path, guiding those who sought wisdom, healing, and truth. Seeing the injustice, Eli stepped forward, and with newfound confidence, he defended the stranger, helping him clear his name. They are stones along a living path, shaping those who seek wisdom, healing, and truth. As the townspeople dispersed, the stranger turned to Eli, gratitude evident in his eyes. "Thank you," he said, "for showing me that even in darkness, the light of truth can shine." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Eli sat beside a campfire, pondering the events of the day. The stone hummed softly, and the words echoed within. "Guard your words, for they have the power to uplift or destroy." Her companion, a young man, had betrayed her trust, leaving her alone in the vast wilderness. Eli approached her tent, drawn by her sorrow, and sat down beside her, without a word. As the night deepened, the stone pulsed with a soft light, and the words resonated within him. "A broken heart can mend, but trust is hard to regain. Love not with passion, but with steadfast vows." The woman looked up, startled by his presence, but she soon poured out her tale of betrayal and despair. Eli listened patiently, offering words of comfort and strength. When the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, she had calmed down, wiping away her tears and steadying her voice. Eli did not ask who had died, for he knew the ache of loss that had carved lines into the man's face. He sat beside the grieving man, and in silence, they shared the weight of grief. When the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desert, the stone hummed softly, and the words echoed in the man's voice: "To take a life is to tear the image of God." Eli understood that even in death, life continued. And in his quest to understand the deeper meaning of existence, he realized that every human life was precious, and every action had consequences. As the stars twinkled above them, Eli vowed to honor the dead by cherishing life. Suddenly, the stone's surface shimmered, and the words burned into his mind: "These things cannot love you back." He opened his eyes and looked around him. The waterfall roared, indifferent to his joy or sorrow. In its place was a worn leather pouch containing a folded piece of cloth. He unfolded it carefully, and there lay a note written in hurried strokes. "I stole it," the note began, "thinking I deserved more. But I only took what was never mine. I hope you can forgive me." Surprised by the thief's honesty and remorse, Eli folded the note once more and placed it along with the stone in his satchel. As he continued his journey, he pondered the thief's words, realizing that true repentance was a rare and precious thing. Etched into its surface were two faces, one wrinkled with age, the other young and full of life. Later that day, Eli noticed an elderly woman struggling to draw water from a nearby well. Without hesitation, he rushed to her aid, and together they filled her earthenware pots. As they walked back to her home, the woman shared stories of her life and the woman's reflection and sacrifice. Suddenly, Eli realized that this was his father's hometown, and the woman was his father's sister. Overwhelmed with emotion, he embraced her, tears blurring his vision. In that moment, he realized that the stone had led him back to his roots, reminding him of the strength, faith, and sacrifice his parents had shown him all those years ago. The birds chirped merrily, oblivious to the weight of his thoughts. As these words reverberated within him, memories stirred, long dormant. He recalled his mother's quiet prayers, the bedtime stories his father told, the songs his grandmother sang. Its presence was felt more than seen, for it nestled beneath dry leaves and whispered secrets to the wind. Resting against the rough bark of the tree, he allowed the stone's vibrations to fill him. And as it did, the words echoed within, "Rest and remember." Exhausted from his journey, he lay down and closed his eyes. In stillness, he felt life around him, awakened the wind rustling through the leaves, the babble of the nearby stream, the buzz of insects in the tall grass. He heard the heartbeat of the earth beneath him and the symphony of birds circling overhead. In that moment, he understood that the world turned not because he worked or fretted, but because it was held by hands unseen. But more importantly, he remembered the still small voice of conscience he had long ignored. For years he had chased empty gods of success and popularity, but none had answered him. Yet here, beneath a barren fig tree, he felt the presence of something greater than himself. The fig tree rustled, and the stone's glow intensified, guiding him onward. "You search for meaning," the old man said, his voice like rustling leaves, "but you'll find no answers in the clamor of men." The second stone led him to a ruined city where crumbling statues mocked him with silent sneers. As he walked among the ruins, he saw people prostrating themselves before stone idols and screens that flickered endlessly, their eyes vacant and hollow. Some were absorbed in games, others in the endless scroll of digital lives. Their laughter sounded hollow in the echoing ruins. Follow the trail of the 10 stones. Each will speak to your soul. If you are willing to listen, they will show you the way home. Then, with a gentle smile, the old man handed Eli a worn satchel and vanished into the night. Eli awoke to the first rays of dawn and found the old man's gift beside him. Reaching out, he felt a strange warmth beneath his fingertips. And though buried in sand, the stone burned with an inner light, beckoning him to follow. Heeding its call, Eli rose and set off into the endless dunes, following the stone's silent song. By midday, it led him to a withered fig tree, where its branches twisted like gnarled fingers against the relentless sun. Following its silent call, Eli journeyed for days, crossing scorching deserts and mountains that scraped the clouds. That evening, Eli camped beside a whispering waterfall. On the third day, Eli found the third stone beside a babbling stream. It was smooth to the touch, yet it thrummed with a hidden energy. The fourth stone awaited him beneath the shade of a lone tree in the vast desert. On the fifth day, the fifth stone waited near a ruined house, its walls cracked by time and neglect. The sixth stone was black and cold to the touch. On the seventh day, after sunset, Eli found the seventh stone beneath a moonlit sky. The eighth day, the eighth stone was missing. The ninth stone was smooth and polished, yet a jagged line split the face carved upon it in two. The final stone awaited him atop a great hill, its summit lost in mist and legend. When Eli returned from his journey, the satchel lay beneath his bed, holding the 10 stones that had transformed his life. Moral: the 10 Commandments are not relics of an ancient past.